doing?
Good, good. How about you? I know it's late for you, so how was the day?
Fine. I just got back from training. So yeah, it's perfect.
All right, right on. Very
Fine.
cool. And Friday, right?
Where do you live? Sorry, where do you live? I need to know before
Yeah,
I
I'm
need to know
in
everything. I'm a woman.
yeah, I'm over in America, Washington State, so on the west
Oh,
side. The west
yeah,
side.
I know.
Yeah, close to
I know.
Canada, but not Canada. Yeah.
Nice. I've never been to Washington. Nice.
Yeah, yeah, it's nice here. We get variety in weather. People say it rains a whole bunch here, which I guess compared to other places it does, but I like it because it's different. It's not just sunny all the time.
Crazy time in US now, yeah?
Yeah, very much so. Very much so.
They are still
Um,
counting, aren't they?
yeah, as far as I know, I'm just trying to ignore it a
Oh
little
my,
bit. It's crazy.
it's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, is it kind of like entertaining for like you guys to watch who are outside of America?
Oh, but we have crazy time in Poland now too. So we have women on the streets, like they're protesting nowadays. So it's crazy time here. Seriously, like thousands of women on the streets. So
Oh wow.
yeah, they banned abortion here in Poland.
Oh,
So it's
okay.
totally illegal now. So they got crazy about it.
Yeah. And how's virus stuff over there? Is it getting better or
Getting worse and worse every day.
Oh, great.
Seriously, it's horrible. So I probably will have the total lockdown soon.
Mm.
So hopefully they wouldn't do this before my fight. So
Yeah, yeah, hopefully not. I mean, we're close. We're almost there.
yeah, I
Uh,
know. But they canceled my fight on May due to the COVID. So
mhm.
hopefully it wouldn't happen again.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I didn't know about that. Was it supposed to be Haba still, or was it a different opponent for back then?
It was the same opponent, the
Okay.
same event, and
Okay.
everything. So
Yeah, that sucks. And I mean, yeah, you haven't got to fight this year at all yet, so I'm sure you're really excited for that.
I haven't been fighting for a year now. So I want to fight really seriously.
Yeah, I can imagine. Well, almost there. Like we said, fingers crossed that nothing bad happens before then. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, just a crazy, crazy time we're living in. Hopefully those things all fix up soon. So we'll see.
Yes.
We will see about that. But okay, Caroline, I want to ask you, how did you get into combat sports? Because it's always a journey for everybody, I think, and it's a unique thing, right? Fighting in general. So like what led you, to get here in the first place?
Well, how much time you have? Because my story is
Plenty.
quite long. I
Plenty.
have
I
to
love a
say.
good story.
Okay. When I was a small girl, I didn't used to be a good girl. I'm from a good family and everything, but I was kind of I don't know. I used to go to football games, soccer games. So I had all the friends from like bad boys friends, and I think I wanted to impress them. So I went to the boxing class when I was 13 almost. And so yeah, I started with boxing when I was a small girl. Like I was a teenager, not even teenager, but like a young one.
Mm.
So yeah, then I've been boxing for 7 years, I think 7 years. um but I have to say, when I turned pro, I was 18 and I had 4 professional fights. But actually, it wasn't good time for boxing in Poland. It's not very popular here anymore. It used to be when we had I don't know, Andrew Golota, who was fighting with Tyson, and all the people like this. Um, but it's not that popular here anymore. Um, so I had a break, like 5 years break from a sport. Um, but after 5 years of this break, I've said like, okay, I'm still young enough to get back. But I went through boxing class and I was like, oh my god, it's so boring to use just hands. And I couldn't stand it, seriously. It was such a boring training for me. So I started kicking, and then I started doing other stuff, and I was like, okay, let's go with MMA, which was becoming very popular at this time here in Poland.
Mhm.
So yeah, I did it. and it was the best decision ever 3 years ago.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I know that's the thing for me. Like, I've always been more into MMA before boxing, but like when I watch boxing now, I'm like, they're like, I want to see kicks and I want to see all the other strikes too. You know, it's like just
Uh,
just the punching.
Whenever I watch boxing, I see all those places where I could put my leg on.
Exactly.
Oh my God, I would kick him straight here, there, or her. I don't know. So yeah, it's boring. Whenever I want to fall asleep more faster,
Put
that
on
I just
boxing.
watch boxing. Seriously,
That's that's great. Yeah, I
I
totally
shouldn't say
agree.
that. I've been boxing for 7 years. I
Yeah.
shouldn't be saying that. Oh my God.
Hey, I mean, you did it, so you can. I think you have the right.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, yeah, you mentioned that break that you took there, and you during that break you became a journalist, right? Is that accurate?
Yeah.
How was that like?
Yeah. I mean, there is a Polsat Sport is the name of the TV station, which is
Mm,
like the most popular sports station in Poland, and they host like they show all the boxing MMA events in Poland. So when it comes to all martial arts, they're like the god here in Poland.
mhm.
So I've been hosting for 5 years all those events, like MMA events, boxing events. I've been doing all the interviews with all fighters in Poland. So actually, it made me want to get back because I've been talking with them, I've been watching their preparations, I've been in touch with them, and I could feel all this atmosphere before the fight. They were so excited, and I said like, oh my God, I want to feel that again. I'm
Mhm.
so jealous that they can feel it. Like, so I was on probably every most important event in Poland for those 5 years, and I was like, okay, I'm almost in the center because doing the interviews you are in the cage, but
Yeah.
still it's not the same. I was like, I need to be there. So actually, yeah, it was nice 5 years, but yeah, I just was so jealous, and that's it. I
Yeah.
was like, oh my God, they have such an amazing life, like to see their faces after the victories and everything. So I really wanted to feel that again.
Of course, I can imagine, especially having, boxed a little bit before that, and then you're talking to all the people like, oh, I could be on the other side of the microphone, right?
Yes, yeah, you have this feeling like you can do this. So stop being jealous and move your fat ass and get back to the gym. I was fat for 5 years. I mean, I wasn't fat, but I thought I was okay. But now I can see I wasn't.
In comparison, yeah.
Not doing anything for 5 years. Like, oh,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, was that when you stopped boxing, was that kind of your plan or to do journalism or, interview people and all that, or did this kind of happen?
it was a tough time. I was 4-0 in boxing. But I couldn't find a good manager. I just didn't have good people around me. So I was looking for my place in the boxing world. And then the boss of the TV station came to me because we met on one of the events, and he said, I think you are going to be a good journalist. Let's do this. I want you to make a journalist. So, it was a tough time for me when it comes to boxing. And the boss of the biggest TV station in Poland came to me like directly and said, I want to hire you. I want you to work for me. So I was 20. I didn't have money from boxing. And they came to me and they said, okay, let's make you a star, let's say. Yeah. I was like, okay, I didn't have good people around me when it comes to boxing, so I didn't have any, I don't know, opportunities at this time. So I just took this chance.
Yeah, I mean, why not? It sounds
Yeah,
like a pretty good opportunity, right? I mean,
yeah,
experience. So,
yeah.
it's funny to me though, because like you look at a lot of MMA fighters nowadays, more people who are retired and everything, they get into the journalism type of stuff or, get on the desk and do an analyst work after they're done fighting, right? You did that before. So, I mean, do you think that's something you'll ever go back to, or was this just for that moment in time?
Uh, to be honest, I'm the person. I'm a person who thinks about the future because obviously my career can end any day.
Mhm.
One bad move on a training, one bad fight, like serious injury and I'm done. So whenever I'm not in a training camp, I try to do a lot of journalist stuff. Like I host events, I comment events. So I'm still in. I have to say, obviously not like full-time job,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
like a few times a year I host like few events. So I'm still doing that, and obviously I would love to get back one day, but not now. I still
Yeah.
have a few years ahead, hopefully.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's good. I mean, always nice to stay busy. I mean, I'm sure you haven't done too much of that this year, but so yeah.
Oh no, it wasn't the best year ever. I had a broken nose for the first time ever after 12 years in martial arts. So
Oh wow.
it wasn't the best year ever.
That's
I
fun.
just You are prepared for that. You know what you're doing. That you know that every punch can cause it. But when it happened, I was like, oh my god, seriously? It wasn't a good feeling, I have to say.
Yeah, I can't imagine any broken bones. You never want to have that happen, but
Yeah, and you can hear it. It was the worst voice ever. Seriously, I could basically hear it when it was like moving away.
ugh,
Oh no.
jeez.
Uh,
Brutal. Oh my goodness. Um, and also, I mean, I don't know how related to journalism type things that this is, but you also participated on a Mexican boxing reality show too. Is this accurate from what I was looking at?
it is, but it was before like all the media
Okay,
stuff.
okay.
But yeah, it was a journey of my life, I have to say, because when I was 18, I mean not even 18, I was few months before. It was few months before I turned 18. Because here in Poland you have to turn 18, yeah, to be an adult.
Hmm.
And I saw an advert on the internet, and I was like, because they were looking for a Polish, because the TV show was Todas contra Mexico, which means like all the world against Mexico. So one team was, do you remember the TV show Contender in US? It was Sylvester Stallone hosting that. There were
Okay.
two teams, yellow and it's kind of tough stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, there were two teams, and so one was international, another one was Mexican. So they were looking for a Polish girl for this international team. So yeah, I just sent them their message like, okay, I could do this. And to be honest, I didn't think even for 1 second they would pick me. Like it was kind of a joke for me. I
Yeah,
was
you're like,
like,
ah, let's
they
just
would
see what
never.
happens.
Yeah, but seriously, I didn't think even for a second that they would pick me. But day after, they messaged me back, and I was like, okay, you are in. I was like, no, seriously, no, I'm not going anywhere. So they asked me like, you sure you're prepared to turn professional? I was 18. I mean, I wasn't even 18. You sure you want to go to Mexico for a month? It will be a TV show in English, like, so you will be using only English. And yeah, you have to turn pro. And some other stuff. I was like, no, I'm not doing that. Like, forget it. But yeah, after a few talks with my family and friends and people around me, I said like, okay, let's do this. So they had to wait for me for a few months. They trusted me that I will sign a contract because they had to wait for me to turn 18.
Mm,
So I was the youngest one there. Like other girls were like 30 something.
wow.
So I was the youngest one. And I just went to plane and ended up in Mexico. And and yeah, I spent the time of my life there. Seriously. I won the first fight and lost the second one. But still, amazing journey.
Yeah, wow, that's very crazy. And I mean, is it overwhelming at all? I mean, when you're still very young, especially compared to these other people and everything, and the camera's in your face, like, was that a lot to take in at first?
It was. I don't know. I was brave. Oh my god! I wish I was that brave nowadays. I didn't even think. I just went to Warsaw, took a plane there, and went to Mexico. And went for a walk in Mexico City. And like one guy called me like he was taking care of us, and he was like, "Where are you?" "I'm just taking a walk in Mexico City." "Are you kidding me?
You
Get
don't
back
do
to the
that.
hotel now. You're in
Yeah.
Mexico City. You are a young girl." So yeah, I was just running back to the hotel. So I met amazing people there, and it was amazing to get back to go to US few years after that and meet my friends from this TV show and everything. So nice.
Yeah, that is awesome. Was that your first trip outside of Poland?
No, I've been traveling, but that far, yes.
Okay, very
No,
cool.
yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, not a lot of people get
Yeah,
to do that. So,
yeah. So, it was like probably the beginning of my journey, because after that I got quite a little bit popular in Poland. So yeah, I mean, I made few interviews and everything.
mhm,
Um, so yeah, then I got back and I got my 4 professional fights. Uh, because at the end of the day, they didn't put those fights from the TV show into our records.
mhm,
I mean, it's on the BoxRec, which BoxRec is our like share doc or topology. It's
mhm.
the same. So they, at the end of the day, didn't put it into our records. But yeah, but then I got back, had my professional debut here in Poland, and then you know the story, like 4 fights,
Yep.
media, and then MMA.
Yes, of course. And MMA, that's what we're doing now, of course. So, I mean, when you first got into MMA, what was the transition like? Because it seems like a lot of people, for the most part, boxers going to MMA, the transition hasn't always been great, like a track record of how people have done. Obviously, you're doing just fine, undefeated still and everything, but was it difficult at first incorporating, the other strikes, or since you were so excited to not only punch, was it pretty easy?
um, what? I won 2 of my 3 fights by submission.
Yeah.
So it's funny. It's funny. I mean, my debut was quite crazy because okay, I could punch, but I was after 5 years break. I could kick a little bit, but I wasn't like a professional at it. I've been like doing that for a few months. And then when I decided to have my pro debut for KSW like is like the biggest station here in Poland. So on every event come, I don't know, 17,000 people. So quite big debut. And I've decided to have my debut on November. I've decided to have a debut on March. So I just had 3 months to prepare, like from zero. I have to say
Oh,
from
wow.
zero. So it was like the worst time, 3 months in my life, seriously, because we couldn't start it slow.
Yeah.
We were like, we have 3 months to prepare you to go into the cage in front of 16,000 people and make an MMA debut. So I couldn't start it slow, which was like the most tough school ever. Seriously, like all the sparring partners didn't care about my skills. I mean, lack of skills. So they were just going with me hard to prepare me for everything. So I was one big bruise. Seriously, like I didn't have even one place without the bruise. So it was hard, but it worked at the end of the day. So yeah. I
Yeah.
picked the best team ever because I moved from Warsaw to Łódź for my team, Sharp Top team. So I have the best coaches, and yeah, I mean, I love them because they said yes to prepare me in 3 months for debut. I mean, you can have a debut in 3 months, but on a small event, on like without
Mhm.
any people around, without all those media stuff around, and everyone was watching me. I was such a
Yeah.
big underdog, and yeah, my family made a good money on me, I have to say, because
There you
I was such
go.
a big underdog. Yeah. So
I sent you to the wolves a little bit, right? The big stage right out the gate.
yeah, I don't know how I made it, but yeah, we made it. So, and I'm still undefeated.
Yeah,
But
there
it
you
was
go.
funny story, I have to say. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't funny for me at all. I wanted to die, seriously. I wanted to die.
Well, it paid off. Pressure builds diamonds, right? Is that what they say?
Yes, yes. It was the best feeling ever. When I won in 60 seconds, I won my debut like in 60 seconds. Um, I just, at this moment I felt it came to me like what I've done, like, oh my God, you were just a journalist like 3 months ago, and now you won your debut in 1 minute on KSW event, and it was nice feeling.
You're like, this is what I was waiting for.
Oh yeah, I didn't know this feeling before, because you can't compare it to all those boxing stuff, and it was amazing.
Yeah, definitely. KSW provides a pretty unique atmosphere. I think that's safe to say. And I mean, just like, yeah, getting to work with them overall and the experience of working with KSW, because I think it's pretty easy to say that, like, in terms of production value, and, I'm sure you watch other MMA shows and everything too, but like, just the effort and energy that they put into making it look like such a big deal is like incredible. I don't think
Yes.
anybody really comes too close, except for like maybe a couple people, but like, just what's it been like seeing yourself, working with them and fighting in these. Well, I mean, I guess the next fight won't be a big, big show because of the pandemic, unfortunately, but the ones you fought on so far, I mean, how's that just been? 3 fights now.
It's been, you can't compare it to anything, seriously. Like the crowd cheering your name, and I it's the best feeling ever, seriously. Like, all this event and all those people, I can't imagine my next fight without the people around, without the noise, and it would be something new. When you go there and you see all those people, like, my last fight was, I think, 17,000 people. You have the feeling like, oh my God, you can't let them down. You have to do your best, and you just go and do this, because it's too big, to let anyone down. You have
Yeah.
to, be focused and everything. So amazing stuff.
Yeah. And does that make you, does that kind of make it harder to be motivated then for having a smaller crowd, for this next one?
No crowd at all.
None at all
No
for this
crowd at
event?
all for this event. No, because as I said at the beginning, the COVID is getting worse and worse.
Yeah.
So no crowd at all, at
Mm.
all. So I can't imagine that, to be honest. But yeah, we just need to do this, and what can I do?
Yeah.
I just try, to make it somehow in my head, and we'll see.
Yeah, you'll just have to tell your corner to cheer extra loud.
Yes,
Be
but
extra
I have a
noisy.
corner. I could hear them like in the biggest club ever, like with all the music around. Like, we have this, connection. I
Hmm.
can hear them wherever they are. So it's never been a problem for me to hear them, even with the crowd or anything. So
Very nice.
we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. And I wanted to go back to your last fight too against Alexandra Rolla. That one, at least from the build up a little bit, seemed like you guys had a tiny bit of bad blood, or a small rivalry there, a little bit. I mean, do you prefer opponents who, kind of, give you a little bit reason to dislike them or anything like that? Like, what was it like going through that kind of fight with somebody like her who, presents that extra element?
I thought I prefer that, but now with my next opponent, there is no trash talk at all.
Mhm.
And I feel okay with that too. So I think it doesn't make any difference for me. Because I'm used to being media, work with the camera and everything. And at the end of the day, it doesn't make a difference for me if there's a pressure on me, if someone talk to me about something. But at the end of the day, they because my first opponent was like, oh my God, there was a big trash talk also, and my last opponent too. But at the end of the day, I think they couldn't handle the pressure which they put on themselves,
Mhm.
actually. So for me, it's not a problem at all, to handle the pressure, because I'm used to work with the camera, with all the lights and everything, and they couldn't. So actually, it doesn't make any difference for me, I think. I'm actually surprised, because all my opponents actually weren't nice to me. So it's different for me now. Like she's not talking seriously.
This isn't normal.
Like everyone here in this country wants to prove me something. Like whenever KSW shows like put a poster on their social media like, oh, Karolina is going to fight on this event. Who would you like her to see? Who would you like her to fight? To see her, to fight with. And like there's always a list, like I want to fight her, I want to prove her, oh my god. So from any division, like, oh, I can lose some weight for her, I can put on weight for her. And it's always crazy.
This is exhausting.
Like,
so many people want to fight me.
And so it might be nice now not to have a trash talk.
It's funny. I mean, it probably makes it nicer when you beat those people too then, right? You're like, oh, there, told you.
I told you, yeah. The point. Yes, that's exactly how it works.
Yeah. Awesome. And I mean, you mentioned it earlier, the 2 fights, you have 2 wins by submission, no TKOs or knockouts yet, which is funny considering the boxing background and everything. And whenever somebody has that boxing background or kickboxing, whatever striking, background that they have, everyone always thinks of them specifically as that striker, right? So, I mean, are you happy to show that you're not just a striker so far? I mean, getting these submissions that you've gotten.
The thing is that, as I mentioned, I had only 3 months to prepare for my debut,
Mm-hmm.
and my opponent was a very good striker. So we were like, okay, so probably you are a worse striker than her because she was a Muay Thai fighter. So we had to make a plan. So we were talking on interviews and everything like, oh, it's going to be amazing, like boxing stuff and everything. Like we're going to kill each other with all those punches because she's a Muay Thai fighter, MMA, and I'm a boxer. But we weren't doing any boxing at all. We were doing just grappling and this. So it was like a good game plan, I think. So before my debut, I've been doing so much grappling and jiu-jitsu that I just started liking it. And after my debut, I wanted to do more and more and more and more. And and now I think I prefer even grappling. I have to say, after 3 years, I have an amazing coach. I love him so much, and he taught me everything. So
yeah, I mean, you've already done the boxing, so
yeah, and I feel comfortable on the ground. So
yeah, there you go. Just rounding out the skills, adding more to the toolbox, right? So
yes,
very nice, very nice. And I mean, on a broader scale, representing your country of Poland, I mean, is that something you think about at all? I mean, of course, you aren't going to other countries and fighting just yet or anything like that, but as kind of a role model, for Polish people and Polish girls as being a strong, fighter representing your country, is that something you think about, and try to be a good example in that regard? Or is it just kind of, whatever, just goes natural?
It goes natural, but the thing is, you might not see that because I'm good with kind of talking, interviews and everything. I don't have a problem with that.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to the sport, I'm so humble. Seriously, I'm not self-confident at all. So I would never say like, oh, I want to fight for a belt, I want to be a role model. And I think we have amazing role models here in Poland because we have Joanna Jędrzejczyk, UFC champion for like six times, and we have Karolina Owczarz. She was also fighting with Joanna for a title. She's my sparring partner. We train the same gym. So we have amazing strong women here in Poland, but I would never say anything like this. Hopefully maybe one day, but when it comes to sport, like my coaches want to kill me for that. Seriously. I'm too humble.
Hey, I mean, that's a good trait to have. You don't want to let your own ego get too big or anything.
Yes.
And I mean, speaking of kind of role models and everything, what did you think about Jan Blachowicz, though? I mean, recently getting his big win. I mean, that was crazy. I think a lot of people counted him out there.
I just don't even know what to say. I was crying when I was watching
It's a great
that. I was
story. Yeah.
screaming so badly because I know Jan for like years, and to see his journey, because he had few losses in UFC, and then he just got back and now he's UFC champion. Like, and he's such a good person, you know, and he's very nice and humble guy, very humble. And you know, it was so good to see, like, I don't know, let's, whenever, whoever I talked to, whoever Instagram stories I watched at on this evening, it was so nice to see, because the fight was at 5 a.m. in Poland.
Hmm.
So it was so nice to see people woken up to watch his fight. And amazing, seriously, it's a big deal. Like, I can, it's you know, it's very emotional for me because I'm so proud of our Polish fighter.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't mean to tug on the heartstrings there, but yeah, it was just I wanted to mention that because, definitely an awesome moment. And I always love seeing people who have really had to take kind of a longer road like him and, finally pays off later in, his career. And I mean, he's aging like a fine wine, right? He's like 36 now and he's the champion. So I mean, still got plenty to go. So
Yeah, yeah,
very
and he
cool.
won. You know, it wasn't a lucky punch. It wasn't. He won the first
Hmm.
fight, the first round, and you know, he was like a professor for me. Like, he he did it perfectly. You know, there was no lucky punch. There were no like accident. I call yeah, accident. No, different word. Anyway, like, he just did what he wanted to do. Yeah, so it was amazing.
Yeah, it was definitely a great performance from Jan. Excited to see his next fight, which apparently will be champion versus champion. We'll see how that goes. So
Adesanya, yeah, we'll
yeah,
see.
should
Good
be.
fight for Blachowicz, yeah.
Yeah. But of course, we haven't really mentioned, your fight with Haba yet. So got to talk about that a little bit, Carolina. Just tell me, what do you think? Do you know much about Justina so far? And I mean, what do you think of this matchup? She's had her experience in Ryzen. She has only 3 fights, just like you, I believe. But I mean, how much
Yes.
how much do you know about her? What you excited? Do you like this matchup?
Um, I don't know much, but obviously I watched her 3 fights. She lost to a very experienced girl on Rising. Yeah, so her record is 2-1. Um, she's tough, I have to say, and she's like well-rounded. So obviously it's going to be the biggest challenge in my career was and yeah, she's just well-rounded, so I can't say more about her. Like, I have to be very careful with all the stuff because I have no idea what she's going to do. Seriously, I have no idea if she's going for a takedown or going for a striking fight. I don't know, so it's going to be a surprise for me.
I mean, are you somebody who generally likes to know less about opponents? Because I mean, some people will center like their whole game plans around who they're going against. Like I guess a good example would be Tyron Woodley, who really researched his opponents to make sure he was ready for them. And where other people just like, all right, I'll let my coaches take care of it. Like, which side are you on there?
I'm the person who has to know everything.
Okay, okay, it's the
Seriously, I
journalist
have to know
background.
everything. Like, I try not I try not to do much research about because of my opponents, because for me, I think about it too much. So when it comes to that, I'm not doing that much research. I watched her fights only once and not anymore. But when it comes to different parts of my life, I have to know everything. Seriously.
Yeah, yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I mean, knowledge is power, right?
Uh, like, I'm always, whenever we start sparrings, like on the jiu-jitsu class, I always ask how many rounds, how many minutes, like, and coaches are, why do you have to know? Like, when I go in the cage, I know how many rounds I'm going to fight there and how many minutes. So I need to know. I just need to, to put it into, put it in the good, I know, direction in my head, like to
Hmm.
prepare for rounds and everything. So I need to know everything.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that mental preparation, it's helpful. It's helpful.
I did.
Okay, Carolina, I have just a couple more things, don't want to keep you
Mm.
too long here, but I'm curious. Do you you said we talked about thinking ahead, of course, in the future. How far ahead do you think? Like, do you have any ultimate goals right now in the sport? I mean, of course, I'm sure you want to become a champion and everything, but are you just kind of going with the flow, or do you have like that grand thing in mind? For where you want to be in
As,
so much time.
as I mentioned, I'm too humble for saying anything. My coaches want me to know, to keep saying to me like sky's the limit and everything. And I'm very humble, and seriously, I can't even think. And I'm 100% honest with you now. I don't have any thoughts in my head about the future. Like, I'm just focused on my next fight. And so sorry, I wouldn't answer that.
No, that's fine. That's a good answer. Yeah. It's just like, some people they kind of map it out a little bit, whereas, others will one at a time. And I see both sides to it, but everybody's different. So I was just curious there.
Yeah, my mindset works for me. So why to change it?
Exactly. Exactly. All right. And I mean, outside of fighting though, are there things that you have like specific hobbies that you really like to do? I mean, I saw that you did some biking recently on your Instagram, or some things you like to do outside of fighting. And I'm sure that you've had to maybe look at those during this time off.
I love eating.
Of course.
Seriously, eating is my favorite hobby. And yeah, I eat quite a lot. And mm, people keep asking me about this. I don't have a specific hobbies.
Hmm.
I always appreciate the time when I don't have to do anything, when I can just relax and spend some time with my family, with no pressure, with no diet, just to lay down on the couch and watch like stupid movies, stupid comedy. And I always appreciate all this time. Like, I'm not in rush. I don't have to adjust my schedule to anything. So it's my favorite time, type of spending my time off.
Yeah. I mean, it's always nice to just wind down and do a little bit of nothing. But I mean, what's your favorite stupid comedy?
Intouchable. I mean, it's not stupid, but my favorite comedy, which is also a very smart movie, is Intouchables, about like this with this black man taking care of this disabled man on a wheelchair. It's
Okay.
a
I
French.
think I know
No,
which one
it's
you're
not.
talking about.
It's French, I think. Yeah, it's French. It's amazing. Seriously, it's like it's so smart, but it's so funny at the same time. I think Americans made a remake of that,
Yeah,
but
that's
I
what it
didn't
sounded
watch it, to
like.
be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but the French like original version is just amazing. So
Awesome. There's a recommendation. I will have to check it out then.
yeah. Oh, it's like this movie is like 10 years old, I would say.
Yeah.
So
That's
go
fine.
for it. Seriously, it's amazing. Oh, I love The Hangover.
Oh, yes, a classic.
Hangover. Yeah, I've watched it like 100 times. Seriously, and it always makes me laugh. Always. Yeah, so I love it.
Have you been to Vegas?
I've been to, but I've been to Vegas when I was under 21. Can you
Not the
imagine
same.
being? I couldn't even sit next to the machine. They were just
Mhm.
asking me to get to go out like whatever I entered. So no, it was a good time. It was boring. I couldn't do anything there,
Yeah.
anything. So I was just staying in a hotel, and I had to stay there for a week. So no,
Oh,
it
nice.
wasn't. It
So that was
wasn't
that was
fun.
quarantine before the quarantine.
Yeah,
Pretty
yeah.
much. Okay, Carolina, I will leave you with these last two things. I always like to make sure I get my pronunciations right. So, Avchash, right? Avchash.
Wow,
I nailed
very
it. Did I
nice.
get it?
Yeah, Karolina Owczarz, very nice.
Wonderful. All right. See, I pride myself in
I'm
getting my
impressed.
pronunciations right. So,
I'm impressed.
oh, hey, you made it to the end. Thanks for watching. Really appreciate it. If you like this video and want to see more like it, give it a like and maybe subscribe if you haven't already. Until then, we'll see you next time.